We'll be discussing about Nollywood's growth, and we'll be looking at strategies that the Nollywood industry can apply to improve its performance. Nollywood started in the late 90s of the 20th century as a result of an entrepreneur who found it difficult selling empty um, tapes. Now, what he did was that he recorded a movie on a tape and was able to sell about 750,000 copies of that particular movie. Imitators in the market, in a bid to also achieve the same revenue um, potential that he achieved, went ahead to also produce movies on empty tapes, and so that was how the industry was born. Today, it's the second largest industry in terms of volume. About 40 movies or films are produced a day, and each of these films have an average budget about $40,000, and they're produced over a 2 week period. Now, when you compare that to the United States, that's Hollywood, where the average film costs about $40 million, and then you have your blockbusters like Avatar costing about 130 to $400 million. Then you know that it will be quite difficult to achieve the level of quality that Hollywood has seen in its products. But the key thing about Nollywood is that it meets the need for local entertainment in the in the African sector. So that's why it's doing very well in terms of revenue generation, about 200 to 500 million dollars per annum, and it's seeing about 20% growth rate per annum. So it's an industry that is growing, but it's facing a lot of challenges, key of which include the fact that it faces limited funding, and it also has the issue also of a poor concept or storylines, and it also has the issue also of poor film quality, and the industry itself faces the issue of piracy too as well. Now, what we'll be trying to do in this period is to try and provide solutions to these challenges that the industry is currently facing. Now, firstly, as regards the challenge of limited funding, the best way the industry can go right now is to try and seek government sponsorship. Now, of recent, sometime about 2 years ago in 2011, President Goodluck Jonathan of Nigeria promised the industry that he was going to provide source of cheap funding in terms of a revolving fund to main studios in the industry. But it's unlikely that the fund has been made available at the current moment. The estimated value of the fund was put about 1 billion naira at that time. But what individual studios can currently do is to approach state governments all over the federation to fund movies that they believe will be able to bring back adequate returns. Now, the government of the nation can set up revolving funds for each of these studios, such that the funds will only be made available to those studios who present valid and sound business plans. Now, these business plans would be such as to serve that when the movies bring in profit, this will be used to turn over the money and lend to other people as well. Then there's also a need to also begin to seek means to bring in local entrepreneurs, especially the young generation, to see the movie industry, the Nollywood industry, as being a source of value addition, value creation, and improvement in equity investment, such that we need a lot right now, a lot of young people who will be serve as angel investors in the industry. Now, it's the duty of the studios to seek out these investors with solid business plans and bring them to invest into their movie concepts. Then also in terms of treating or tackling the challenge of poor concept storylines, one key way to do this is to partner with creative departments in universities all over the country. Now, doing this would lead to a situation whereby movie scripts written by students in universities all over the country, as well as movie scripts in general, storylines written by professors in each of these universities will be made available to studios, and then studios can further fictionalize or adapt the story to fit a movie script as it may so require. Now, doing this will ensure that we're seeing a situation where the movies are becoming much more sophisticated in terms of their storylines and in terms of the morals that they pass across to the viewing public. Also, another way to improve storylines is to try and find a means of bringing up value from our history. Now, this can be done in such a manner that, for instance, take the Yorubas have very rich history, for instance. Now, the historical texts serve as a background to build very nice movie scripts that can be aired to the viewing public. Examples of these abound in Nollywood, in Hollywood, I mean. And take for instance Gladiators, take for instance the movie known as Alexander, take for instance the movie known as Rome. Now, all of these movies made use of the histories of past empires in Europe and other places in the world. Now, Africa, Nollywood can tap into our rich history to create rich story concept lines that can form the basis of sophisticated movies. Now, to the third challenge of poor film quality, this arises as a result basically that a lot of the studios in the country currently have limited access to finance. But now, if we have a situation where trying to solve poor film quality would involve a situation where studios go on to seek the means to improve the core technical skills they have in cinematography, and this would involve building up a new crop of young people trained overseas in the developed parts of the world, sharing in Hollywood, sent on internships and long-term training in major studios, your MGM in Hollywood, and all of those big studios in Hollywood can train a new crop of cinematographers who would bring in that technical skill into the industry. Now, this process can be funded by the state government, can be funded by studios who can band together to provide the funding to send these people, a young crop of entrepreneurs, overboard and overseas to learn and improve their skill set. Another way to improve the quality of these movies is to seek to bring in relatively cheap technical people from Bollywood industry. Now, this could come into Nigeria to work with any of the studios on a part-time or contract basis to add value to each of the movies that are coming out from the industry itself. Now, to the last challenge faced by the industry, which is the issue of piracy. Now, solving the piracy problem, it's very critical because piracy has deprived studios of revenue that they could have used to improve the quality of movies, to improve the overall value addition, value creation potential of the industry. And it's something that needs to be tackled seriously. But the current way of head-on collision with pirates that's going to major open markets where these movies are produced and sold is ineffective. The best way is to ensure that those who are supposed to be the end users of these movies get to buy these movies or get to watch these movies in ways that bring in revenue to the producers. Now, one of the ways we'll be suggesting to the Nollywood industry is, firstly, to seek a means by which they could create in every local government in Nigeria local cinemas. Now, local cinemas that are affordable. Now, if you look at Silverbird, for instance, now, which was the pioneer cinema chain in Nigeria, they charge about 1,300 naira per movie screening, and they respect about 1,000 viewers per movie per premiere or per viewing, and they do about 5 screenings in a day. Now, each of these suggested local cinemas in each of the local governments in Nigeria could charge as low as between 100 to 200 naira, and they could then increase the number of viewers in the centers from what you've seen at Silverbird from about 1,000 to roughly about 2,000 to 3,000. Now, this would be a means by which local studios could air or screen their movies all over the federation at the same time and earn revenue, and this revenue can then be used to produce DVD cassettes or the actual hard copies of the movies that can then be distributed. Now, these hard copies of the movies, when made, will be such that they'll be made with features that ensure that it's difficult for pirates to steal the actual content of the tapes itself. A second way by which we can tackle piracy is actually to distribute online. Now, Iroko TV, for instance, it's a major means by which studios can take advantage of that platform to distribute their products. Now, we need more of Iroko TV to distribute Nigerian movies online. Such ways would reduce the impact, the negative impact of piracy on the industry. In summary, what we'll say is that Nollywood represents Africa's real resource. Over the last 60 years or so, when African countries have become independent, we have seen a situation where all of our resources, hard resources in terms of diamond, crude oil, has brought in poverty, has brought in pain to the major part of Africa. Now, this can change if we begin to use our minds, if we begin to use our human capital to drive growth on the continent. Now, this would involve a situation whereby we begin to pay more attention to our creativity, to our arts, to our movies, to our entertainment as a whole, and seek means by which we can create value, more value derive more value out of them. This is very important, and I think this is what African governments should focus on, what African entrepreneurs should focus on as the next stage of driving Africa's growth.